Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday, time for Wisdom Wednesday. Today I thought I would take a quick break from my recent meetings that I've been going to because I've had a lot of patients in just still struggling with gut issues, and just as a reminder to let you know that all illness begins in the gut, so therefore all healing begins in the gut. And when we talk about gut healing, there is the idea that there is a 4 or 5 R program, if you will, depending on who you read. So the R's for a gut healing program include removing, replacing, reinoculating, repairing, and then rebalancing. So when we talk about removing, we want to remove those things that are problematic. In particular, it starts with food and food sensitivities. And if you've seen me in the office, you know we've talked about removing those foods that, for the most part, for most people are problematic. And that includes wheat, dairy, for many people, eggs, particularly the whites in eggs, which are the protein area, corn, soy, and peanuts, in addition to obviously sugar, which we like to try to limit. But those foods comprise between 70 and 90% of all food sensitivities. Now, we can do food sensitivity testing and identify other areas of foods that might be problematic, certain nuts, certain protein sources, even vegetables, certain foods that are really healthy for many people. But if we tend to eat the same 10 to 12 foods day in and day out, we are going to develop some issues with that. And the way it works is that when we ingest food and we eat the same things day in and day out, we can develop sensitivities to those, which then allow certain aspects, certain peptides of the proteins within these foods to leak into the system. And we develop what's called leaky gut or intestinal permeability, meaning things can leak in. And as we've also discussed before, just right underneath that single cell layer in the small bowel is our immune system and what we would consider our second brain. 80-90% of our serotonin is made in the gut. So you can see how important this is. And we know that when you have leaky gut, if there's any inflammation at all, you can get certain chemicals, particularly what are called lipopolysaccharides or LPS, that actually can leak into the brain and cause significant issues with cognition and focus and irritability, anxiety, depression. All of those things can actually begin in the gut. So when you are dealing with even psychiatric issues, knowing how important gut health is may be a good place to start. So removing foods, and certainly if there's an infection, if you have overgrowth of H. pylori and peptic ulcer disease, if you have any parasites, anything like this, this can disrupt just the normal functioning. Now, now we talked about removal, let's talk a little bit about replacing. What you want to do is help your body, when you remove all those bad things, help it heal. Now, replacing enzymes, which help you break foods down, is very important. And even for some people, that means replacing hydrochloric acid. As we get older, we don't make less hydrochloric acid. We don't make more hydrochloric acid. We actually make less. And then because we're making less, we're not digesting, so food stays in the stomach longer. It's still an acidic environment. And so if the stomach contracts, the only place it can go is back up into the esophagus and cause heartburn. So we misthink that perhaps we have too much acid, and therefore we take an antacid, which is actually it's a very bad idea long-term to do because it inhibits really good digestion. And what we want to do is enhance digestion, enhance the breakdown of foods, and get it moved out of the stomach a lot sooner so that we don't even develop any reflux symptoms. So we want to replace enzymes. We also want to make sure that we are getting enough fiber. So replacing fiber can be very important, and as well as hydration and making sure that you're well hydrated. Then you want to reinoculate. Now, we can reinoculate with probiotics, but for centuries, we've re-inoculated with just foods, and in particular, fermented foods. All peoples across the world and across the planet have always had fermented foods, and this then provides not only probiotics, but also prebiotics, a lot of fiber that can help reestablish good, healthy gut bacteria, or what we now call the microbiome. This is what Dr. Terry Walls calls tending the garden. Just think of your gut as a garden that must be tended, and you've got to give it all the things that it needs to do that. You've got to give it the things to break the foods down. You've got to give it the things to help things grow back, which is the microbiome, and you've got to give more bacteria in there to do the job. And usually by eating 6 to 9 vegetables a day, you are going to get enough fiber, and if you get at least something fermented in there, you're going to get some of the probiotics in there without necessarily having to take them. But you certainly can take probiotics, and I think as time goes on, as I have mentioned in the past too, we'll have much more targeted type probiotics for specific things, weight loss and gut health, and perhaps for arthritis, for any other autoimmune disorders. And it's important that we understand that all autoimmune disorders have this leaky gut, so you really do want to repair the gut. Now, after we have replaced, we want to try to re-inoculate, which we've talked about, the gut bacteria and the flora, and then we want to repair. And repairing means that we give the body not only time, but also a way to heal. Bone broth is very helpful because it has collagen in it. Collagen powders are very helpful. Also, glutamine, which is an amino acid, and you need about 5 to 6 grams a day, and usually that comes in a canister and a powder. You can put in anything that you drink, and most of them come somewhat flavored, so you just mix it with water and then drink that. So the repair aspect is important to do, and usually within anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, you can do a lot of repair work with that, and this is not necessarily an ongoing problem, and something that you'd have to do for months and months on end. And then last, we want to rebalance, and remembering that rebalancing means this is still just lifestyle. This is allowing stress in your body to calm down, to work on things like meditation, yoga with deep breathing, Pilates with deep breathing, even high-intensity interval work by getting the parasympathetic side of your nervous system, that break, or the inhibitory side of your nervous system, to calm down so that it pulls down that accelerator and that sympathetic nervous system, and helps bring some balance into your life. And that is why when we reduce stress, we can allow the gut then time to do all the things it needs to do, and it's not having to work on all this inflammation which occurs with stress and high cortisol levels. So a little bit of a brief follow-up on tending the gut and helping your body restore. It's in the way that it really, the place where it needs to start, which is truly in the gut. So hopefully that's been helpful for you all. And if you need any help with any of these aspects of the 5R program for gut repair, please let us know. We have plenty of things available, or just can help lead you in the direction that you need to go. And hope you all have a great week. And we'll continue to look at ways to optimize our health as we move forward. Take care.